Mr. Maxwell's areas of interest include astrotheology, sexual symbolism in world religions, foundations for modern day religion, secret societies and toxic religion, world mysteries, ancient and modern, ancient symbols and occult emblems. And he joins me here today, and we launched on the following thought. Let me tell you how we come to you and where we're going to go in this episode. We have spoken of, after 806 episodes now, 805 episodes, of the New World Order coming. And when I spoke with Mr. Maxwell, a man who I have a lot of respect for, especially because of the amount of time he's looked into this, he said, essentially, the New World Order was installed in the 60s. It's already here. We are full-blown in the New World Order right now, and I have to agree with him. What we need to talk about today is the coming New World religion. We're going to talk about current events that are taking place that demonstrate to us, just as if we were to have him back in the 60s, as he was telling, probably a much smaller group of people back then about a New World Order. Here he comes before us, knowing how these things are brought to humanity, to enslave us, of course, to give us some advance warning of this New World religion that will take a stranglehold on the entire planet. It's just about there, and he's going to share that with us. Mr. Maxwell, welcome to the Pete Santilli Show, sir.
Thank you very much for inviting me, Pete. First time on the show, I guess, huh?
Yeah, and I want to thank, we refer to him as Aaron Al-Qaeda. That's his nickname. But he connected us, and I'm glad he did, especially at this time. You know, Mr. Maxwell, this is a good start. I'm going to tell you how I approach great interviews, like I know that this will be. When somebody like yourself has done so much research and has so much knowledge, and we share that with our listening audience, we do so from, I call it a steak and potatoes perspective. We're just, you know what? We people here in the United States of America, and throughout the world for that matter, are just basic, everyday human beings that just want to know what the heck is happening in the world at this point in time. We talk about this grand awakening, but there's a lot more people now scratching their heads wondering what's going on, I'm sure, than there were in 1959 when you started talking about all this. Is that true?
Absolutely. I've noticed it for years that people slowly but surely are finally getting it, finally beginning to suspect that there might be something wrong. But the problem is, I hear a lot of times, well, people are waking up, but that's what guys do in prison. They wake up every morning, but they're still in prison. So the more they wake up, the more obvious it becomes where they are and what's going on. So, yeah, we're waking up. People are waking up. But I think it's just my opinion. And, of course, anything I say is just my opinion. Mm-hmm. But I think it's far, far, far too late to try and do anything. So my feeling is I just do the best I can and see where it will go, because I realize how deep and how far back and how profoundly dark this whole world system that we live under really is. It's highly entrenched, highly financed, extraordinarily clever, and very, very deep to try and explain how all of this stuff works. And I've always said, and you probably have heard this, I say all the time that I'm not the world's foremost authority on anything. I make mistakes all the time, every day. And like you said, we're all just human trying to figure out where the world's going. I've just been looking at it for over 50 years and talking to people. And this is what I've said, too, is that I'm not the world's foremost authority on anything. But what I have been able to do is be in the company of extraordinarily brilliant people, highly placed, intelligent people who do know something about what's going on. And I've been able to cherry pick all over the world, talking with politicians and mafiosis and bankers, and religious leaders. And so for many, many years, I've been just traveling and listening and talking to people. And what has come out of that is an extraordinary story of betrayal of the human race. Virtually everything that we today feel that we understand is not true. I mean, I've said that so many times. Americans are the most well-informed people on the earth. The only problem is 99% of what we know is just not true. So, and look at the result of it. Like the Bible has Jesus saying, "By their fruits you shall know them." Well, look at the fruitage of our educational system today. Look at America today. Look at the fruitage. Look at the people that it has produced. Look at the mentality that our religions and our educational systems have produced. I roam around the country and around the world, but especially in my own country. Look at the people. They are ill-informed, unread. They have no knowledge of history. They have no concept of how banks work or how governments operate. They have no idea in the world what military means. They have no concept of what religion, theology comes from. It's just an extraordinary story of betrayal of the human family by the powers that be in this world for thousands and thousands of years. I'm more concerned about my own country, though.
Yes, sir. And if you don't mind, I want, as we get into some of these, we're gonna take periodic breaks. We have a break here coming up, I think, at the 17-minute mark or so. So we'll take periodic breaks, and I'll get us into each section. I wanted to just touch on this one thing because I haven't had a chance to speak with you personally. There was a point in time recently where you just got away from it. You weren't doing any interviews.
Yes.
Is there a reason for that? Was it just a personal decision? You were just too busy, or did you get discouraged by the state of the world per se?
Well, I got very discouraged in 2001 with 9/11. I became so disillusioned that I just quietly, like a turtle, I just quietly pulled inside of a shell and became very, very disheartened, and I just didn't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to see anybody. I just became very recluse because of what I saw happen in America that I could not bring myself to believe. It was an extraordinary experience for me because I've been talking about these things for so many years, but when I actually, in fact, saw for my own self what my country, the way my country reacted to 9/11, it just shocked me to my spirit, and I just decided I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm in the wrong country at the wrong time, talking to the wrong people, and I don't know what to do about it. So I'm just going to crawl inside of a shell and forget it.
Yes, sir. Would you say that it was more based on the response of the American people? It was almost like we were activated to respond the way we were. I say that 9/11 and the way they perpetrated it caused a whole bunch of people to pull, $1 trillion out of their pocket to go kill brown people in the desert. Are you referring to that response, or the response of our military and our imposition of our military industrial complex all throughout the world? Was it the people or the system?
And of course the media with it. The media is just one more coffin in one more nail in our coffin. The news media, because it's all run by big money, and big money creates wars.
Mr. Maxwell, this is going to be a short break, and we'll come back and let's talk a little bit more about your history leading up to 9/11. Your history, your research. Seeing 9/11 happen must have been very, very shocking to you. No matter what you've researched, you probably said to yourself, wow, these people will stop at nothing to advance their goal. We'll be right back. In the 60s, and then here you are looking at 9/11 coming. We have transitioned to a different phase. 9/11 was, if it's attached to the New World Order and how it was operating, was a horrific thing. Now, sir, we know now, after you were speaking of the New World Order, 9/11 came, it was horrifying. With the New World religion, sir, Is it not going to bring hell on earth if we were to use that comparison?
Well, that's a subjective question, of course. I mean, again, I'm just giving you my opinion, but I've got some very interesting things to say about the New World religion. Because, first of all, the religions that we have, and I'm not talking about the spiritual disciplines like Buddhism or those kind of theological movements. I'm talking more about Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. And there's a reason why there are three major religions in the world, the three major religions, because three is very important. We have the Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Osiris, Isis, Horus, Father, Son, Holy Ghost, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. Three is a very esoteric number in occult religions throughout the world. And so that's why you have three major religions, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. There's a reason for things happening the way they're happening according to a well-laid plan. But most people don't think that far in advance to see how the world is being put together. Each day it's being arranged in such a way that the human race is like cattle. They're being quietly herded into stalls and have no idea in the world that it's not happening by chance. It's very well planned. And so the rich get richer, the poor get poorer, life goes on, and we've lost our country, we've lost our freedoms, we've lost our jobs, we've lost our homes, and now, of course, it's the only thing left is to lose your mind. So now we've got people going off and killing people in restaurants and going postal and killing their children because they can't afford the families anymore. And so by their fruits you shall know them. Our country is falling apart. A once great nation that offered freedom and liberty and justice today is on its knees, broke, frightened to death. And so I'm just looking at all of this. And like I said, at 9/11, I just gave up because I could not believe the way my country and my fellow countrymen accepted what happened without even I would never have believed it to happen. I would never have believed that America would be so damnable stupid and bought into the stuff which was in your face, ludicrous on the face of it. But it shows the educational development of America. Americans are very, very ill-informed, unread, and are actually being laughed at around the world. I've traveled around the world, and I know Americans are looked at around the world as the people with the money. They'll tell them anything. They'll spend money and then get them out of the country. They're stupid. They're ignorant, and get them out of the country. So we are not very well liked around the world, and we're not respected for our intelligence any longer. And so I don't think any of this is by chance. My dear friend Steve Allen, a musician, comedian, the guy who started the Tonight Show, Steve and I have been friends for many years. He's passed away now, but he was always talking about the dumbing down of the American people and how it was happening and why. We talked for hours about this in private.
Wow.
So I know that there's a very serious problem with America. We have no idea in the world what's going on and how it's being played. And the worst part of it is that most people don't really want to know, which now also begs the question, how important is it? And I've thought about this often. How important is it to really tell people the truth about life? I mean, I can see that there are times when telling someone the truth about their religion or about their belief system is not really advantageous. I mean, if it's a very old person who's dying and on their deathbed and they believe they're going to go to heaven, I don't think it's appropriate to confront that belief at that time. But I do think it's appropriate for human beings to confront issues like, where did our religions come from? Where did our laws come from? What did the words mean? Have you got a dictionary get a law dictionary and look up the words that are being used.
Mm-hmm.
Because the very word, W-O-R-D, put an S in front of it, becomes sword. Because words are deadly. They can put you into prison with your words. They can kill you in certain countries with your words. So words are very deadly. So you need to, when you go into a federal court, that's why you have to have an attorney or a lawyer speak for you. They are your mouthpiece. Why? Because anything you say can be used against you. So the point I'm making here is that words are very important. How people communicate, laws and regulations, the way government operates. When a cop stops you in the street, what you say, your words can put you into prison. So, but people don't know that. They have no idea in the world what's really going on. And it's very, very sad to me, because all my life I've been looking at the dark side, how the world works, what the words really mean, where the governments actually come from, what theology really is. And so, like I said, and when 9/11 happened, I became so traumatized. I couldn't believe the American people bought into all of the stuff that anyone with a half a brain would have realized there's something wrong here, something desperately wrong in your face. And so I figured, if I'm in the wrong country at the wrong time, talking to the wrong people, I think what I need to do is shut up and crawl back into a hole somewhere and sit quietly and watch the end of Western civilization. I will quietly watch the fall of the Roman Empire, the complete collapse of Christian civilization on the earth today. I'm watching it happening, and people have no idea what's going on. They look with their eyes but do not see, and listen with their ears but do not hear. And with their heart, they do not get the sense of it. It's in the Bible. Yeah, so that's what we're doing today.
Words certainly have been weaponized. Our words here today are going to be very real, very straight. And before the end of this segment, of course, we're going to give our listening audience a sense of hope. You came back to do more interviews, to continue on to do your absolute part, to talk to people again. You had to re-energize. And before we end this segment, ladies and gentlemen, we'll give our listening audience some takeaway items. But between now and then, we're going to talk about reality. We'll be right back with Mr. Jordan Maxwell. Jordan Maxwell. And if you don't mind, it'll, I say, again, I'm me as a talk show host. I tell our listening audience, I say I'm dumb as a box of paper clips, and I'm just a steak and potatoes kind of guy, just like the majority of Americans. Who want to understand what's happening. But you know what? If we look at human nature, and I'm just going to kind of speed us up here as to, how we've gotten to this point in human history. Human nature, the human being, seeks pleasure, seeks happiness, seeks sexual gratification. And as you said, words are now being weaponized to exploit human nature, such as, through the like the PR mechanism, capitalizing and exploiting on human beings' fear of death and their desire for sexual gratification. The entire system is driven around controlling the human being and using those words as a weapon in order to inspire them and to nudge things. Now, sir, this has been a long time in the making. The New World Order, the New World Religion that we're going to talk about here, has been a long time in the making. They've exploited religion for thousands of years, have they not?
Absolutely.
They've exploited human nature in order to nudge us. And on 9/11, we were shoved, obviously, in a certain direction. But isn't that true from my meat and potatoes, dumb as a box of paper clips perspective? I see that that's what they're doing to human beings.
Well, yeah. What I'm going to say is just my opinion. I want to say that because, I've learned from lawyers that have explained to me that when you're in public radio, when you're in public in any way, shape, or form, what you say can be used against you in law. So you have to be very careful what you say in the public. Now, I've been told this, and it's interesting to know that if you're in a private association, you can say anything you want. That's the way the laws read. So if you're if, for instance, if you're a member of the Ku Klux Klan, in your church and in your meeting hall, you can rant and rave and say anything you want about anybody, use any language you care to, because that's private. It has nothing to do with the public. But when you go public with your comments, the government is supposed to be empowered to protect the public. Therefore, anything you say in the public, they can now come after you because you didn't do it in private. You said it in public. So that's why I have to be very careful about what I say in the public arena, because I don't want to go to prison or be arrested and taken to a warehouse in Long Beach and have your fingers cut off and tortured or sent to Guantanamo or sent to some foreign country and be tortured and find your body in an alley somewhere, because that's what happens in America. So I don't want that happening to me at 74 years old, but I know what's going on. I know who these people are. I know what they're doing. But it's like understanding and knowing and having an inside scoop on what the mafia is doing. That's not very healthy.
Right.
Because if you know the names of what they're doing and who was there, you become a target, and that's very serious. You will be killed because of what you know. So I've had federal officers, federal people representing federal agencies, like the CIA, coming to me and knocking on my door and talking with me about what I'm doing and what I'm talking about in public. And I take their threats seriously. I'm not a fool. I take their seriously. And so I know now that when we talk about freedom of speech, well, yeah, you have freedom of speech to a certain extent, unless, of course, you know something you're not supposed to know. Now you become a threat, and you will get a knock on the door at 3 o'clock in the morning. And I've already had that happen. So I know what is going on. I know what the undercurrent in this country really is. And so that's why, I asked the question, how important is it really to tell people the truth? Because it very well might get you thrown into prison. It might get you physically harmed. So you got to ask yourself, how important is it to put your life and your family and your wife and your children, how important is it to put your family on the line and your life on the line to expose something which is really, truly criminal, which is going on right in front of you. So it's very, very difficult. Now, having said that, I'm hesitant to say things which I know are going to be misunderstood, and also I might get in trouble for talking about it. So that's why I want to preface it again. It's my opinion, because I feel that everybody has a right to my opinion. So I'm going to give you my opinion. You cannot walk on a slick surface like glass or marble if there's oil on the floor. If it's covered with a thin layer of oil, you are not going to be able to walk on a slick surface. Why? Because you need friction. You need your shoes to hit the pavement and have friction to hold you as you move. So without friction, you're not going anywhere. And the second point is that you can't walk anywhere with one leg. You have to have two legs. You can't do very much in work with one arm. You have to have two, and you have to have two lungs. You have to have two ears, two eyes. That's the way the divine has made things, so that you have to have two. And so that's why today the symbol for America is the bald eagle. Well, there's a reason why the eagle is a symbol for America. Why? Because it has always been a symbol of all the great empires, from Greece to the Mediterranean. The Roman Empire symbol was a eagle. Eagles have always been used as a symbol for empires. Why? Because an eagle has two wings. Get it? Left wing and right wing. Today you have left-wing politics and right-wing politics. What are you talking about, wing? The wings of an eagle. An eagle only has two wings, left and right wings. But the wings are operated by a central brain. And so you can fly once you understand how the system works. And so it's just like in a courtroom. Everything is it's all very simple once you begin to get the general idea about how things are, how things operate. And so, as I said, you can't go anywhere if the floor is slippery. So you got to have friction. You got to have two. So therefore, we have the Republicans and the Democrats. But what people don't realize, it's right in front of you, but no one stopped to tell you, and no one sees it unless you study this kind of thing for many years. What you've got is, on the left wing, you have what basically I call Soviet Marxism, or Marxist-Leninism, is left wing. On the right wing, you have the National Socialism, or what we call Nazism, the SS, the Gestapo. So we know that the Republican Party, we've known this as far back in 1950, that the Republican Party today, it was back then, I know it is today, was a pro-Nazi movement. And people have no idea about that. But Operation Paperclip brought in thousands of not only scientists from Nazi Germany, they brought in theoreticians, politicians, bankers, all kinds of Nazis were brought into this country. Now, sir,
guess what? And sir, let's make this point. This is not your opinion you're expressing now. These are facts. This is not theory. This is not conspiracy theory. These are facts, correct?
These are facts. Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. It's been talked about on national television. Mm-hmm. Documentaries have been done on Discovery Channel, History Channel, CNN's run. BBC has ran many different documentaries on the Republican Party in the United States is today filled with the pro-Nazi, SS, Gestapo, old guard, and there have been many reference books written by very good researchers on who and what the Republican Party is today. It is a pro-Nazi, pro-Hitler, pro-fascist organization coming out of Europe, and our Democratic Republic and our Democratic Party is a pro-Soviet communist movement. It is left-wing, it's communists, socialists. And so what you have is the International Socialist Democrat or the National Socialists, which are Republicans. So you have the 2 feet, the 2 legs. Now you can have the friction between the two. So now we can move the country between the 2 feet. You now have friction. You now have the one brain that finances both sides. Now you can begin to move the people wherever you want them. And I've talked with theoreticians in the military who tell me the best way to move people and to gain power is in enormous wars, because wars create huge sums of money, creates all kinds of political movements. So a war is good if you want to control and guide the human race. So the bigger the war, the more power you have. So once you understand that what we've got in America is Nazis on one side, Republican, and communists, Soviet communists on the other side, Democrats, and just keep in mind that all the so-called communist countries are referred to in reference books. Go to dictionaries and look up these countries, and you will find that communist countries are always referred to as the People's Democratic Republic. Mm-hmm. You've got the People's Democratic Republic of China, the People's Democratic Republic of Cuba, the People's Democratic Republic of Korea, the People's Democratic Republic of the Congo. You can go on for hours. The People's Democratic Republic. Well, that's what the hell we've got here, a People's Democratic Republic. We have Democrats. The very word republic is means do it again, public. Goes back to a Roman word, republic. Republic means something. Democratic is a buzzword for communism. Soviet Marxist-Leninist communism, Democratic Republic. Get it? Mm-hmm. And the Nazi Party, which we all know is been in power in this country for many years. So what we have now is an America who's in the hands of a very clever, powerful presence in the world today. It's called the WRM. Go back and start doing some research on something called the World Revolution Conspiracy. WRM, World Revolution Movement. World Revolution Movement, in which it was written hundreds of years ago, how the world would be divided into two sides so that you can have wars which will move civilizations in different directions. So all of this stuff has been going on. We have theoreticians, we have politicians. All of this has been going on. It's a well-laid, highly intelligent, well-financed world movement. And Americans have no idea in the world what's going on and where it's coming from and where we're going. But I can tell you, from what we can see for the last 50 years of my life, I've been watching where we're going. A great nation like America is now on its knees, broke, frightened. You think that's by chance? No. So you need to wake up and find out how the world really works.
Well, let me ask you something. If, for instance, I'm walking across that oil-slicked glass, okay, and me as an individual, as a human being, I can choose of my own free will to go in any direction I want, but I'm not going to be able to go anywhere unless I have, solid footing and the appropriate friction to go where I want. Okay. Now,
That's right.
If there's another entity out there that is operating and has operated secretly that says that we want a whole bunch of people on the glass to go in the direction that we need them to go. Although the direction I want to go is towards, of course, pleasure, happiness, and possibly sexual gratification, because I'm a human being, of course. But they want to pull me in a different direction. What direction do they want to take us? And why are they pulling us, in their direction? And is it for evil, power? What is it for?
Well, let me explain something to you. How many times have you seen motion pictures and television shows underwater where you see huge schools of fish, and all the fish are going one way, and instantly they all turn and go another way. Then instantly they all turn together and go a different way. Or
That's
what
right.
about cattle? You see it from the air flying over Africa. You see thousands of buffalo, and all of a sudden they all turn and go in a different direction.
Right.
What about birds? You've seen pictures of thousands of birds all flying one way, and instantly they all turn and go the other way. What is that causes all of them all to decide to go a different way instantly together? There's something going on here, some kind of otherworldly force or presence which causes animals and other living entities to act in unison instantly, go one way, then go the other.
Right.
So I'm saying this is what's happening on a very scientific basis to the human race. All of a sudden, everybody wants to vote Democrat. We're dancing in the streets that we got our man in. Then later on, we find out, no, he's just as corrupt as the other guy. And so then they get the new guy in, and everybody jumps on that wagon, and they're going to vote for him, and everything's going to be different. And so after 100 years or 150 years of doing this back and forth, left to right, in the military, when you are training in the military and you're marching in the military, the drill sergeants call out left, right, left, right. And that's the way you march, left, right, left, right. Well, that's the way we're marching. We're marching with the left wing, the right wing, left, right, left, right. That's how we're marching. We got either the Democrats or Republicans. Nobody seems to get the point that this entire political, military superstructure of Western civilization has been maneuvered and manipulated from day one. Nobody seems to get it. And nobody seems to be able to wrap their brain around the idea that there's something far bigger going on our earth than you have even begun to understand. We're just now beginning to see the repercussions of this incredible, insidious development of the human race being led into the collapse of Western civilization and preparing the human race for something which is coming, and it is absolutely astounding to me how much people don't know. We are the most ignorant and ill-informed people on the earth, and we have no idea in the world how anything works.
We don't, but you know what I'm beginning, and I said I've offered myself up, dumb as a box of paper clips, steak and potatoes, but I'm starting to understand, and I absolutely agree, that they nudge us, if not shove us in certain instances through World War and stuff like that, to get us to proceed in a certain direction. Now, let me ask you this. This would probably be the best segue into our main topic, is this new coming new world religion. Is religion being used to exploit our, I guess, to get us to be energetic, to go in the direction they want us to go? Or was the New World Order mechanism used to get us towards the New World Religion? What is the end game as far as you're concerned?
Well, if you go back and look at how America was founded and all the machinations that were involved with the founding of the United States of America, and how as far back as 1860s, America began to fall, and she began to fall quickly. In 1860s, she was on her way out, and then came the Civil War, in which one half of America was at war with the other half. Well, my God, if you have a man and wife going at each other physically, trying to kill each other, you don't have a marriage anymore. Well, that's what happened in America. When we had the Civil War, one half of this country went to war with the other half. You don't have a United States anymore. You have a war, a bloody war. And so after the Civil War was over, there was no United States of America. The Supreme Court issued a statement that after the Civil War, the United States of America no longer exists. We are now in a whole new era. We've got a whole new operation in America. We don't have the United States of America anymore. That was in 1868, 1869, 1870. That's a whole story that will blow your mind when you find out that even the Supreme Court ruled that the United States of America no longer exists after the Civil War. We have a whole new operation. Well, that's the same thing. If you have two people going at each other physically and want to kill each other in a marriage, well, you don't have a marriage. Whatever you're going to have, it's going to be totally different than what you thought it was. So that's where we are now. We are not United States of America. That's a whole story, and I don't want to get into it because it's very dangerous telling people the truth nowadays. It's very dangerous to talk about this subject, because when you find out what the United States really is, and who's actually in power in this country, and what's really going on, that's really serious. You can be put in jail for that. I know. I've already had federal officers knocking on my door. No. We are in serious trouble.
No,
we have no idea in the world how our government really works.
I agree with you.
And going on since 1860.
If you don't mind me interjecting in the essence of time here, because right at the 57 mark, we're going to go to the top of the hour news break, and then we'll come back at the 6-minute mark. But loved the analogy of the almost supernatural momentum that birds, fish, cattle, all going in the same direction instinctually. It's controlled by something. Okay, is right. Telling the truth threatening to them because they want control over the direction that they're going to take the birds, fish, cattle, human beings? Is that why they want to have that control over which direction they're going to take us? Correct?
That's right. Just good business. Yeah. It's just business. Mafia will tell you that. Nothing personal. We want you to go in a certain direction, and you will go in that direction. Why? Because it's important for us to have you go in that direction. And if we catch you veering from that, we will kill you. We will put you in prison. You are not supposed to tell your fellow man what's going on. You're a Judas cow. Just keep your mouth shut and go along to get along.
But they want us, it seems, regardless of which direction, whether or not we can publicly disclose that here in this segment. as to which direction they want to take us. They want to use us for our energy to get us somewhere. And to, I believe, and the reason why I'm bringing this up is I believe that gives me more desire to tell the truth to everybody, to say, you know what, all you birds, fish, cattle, human beings, this is what they're trying to get us to do. What we all need to do is just turn around and go in a completely different direction, because they don't have good intentions. They're not going to take us in a good direction, are they?
No, not at all. I think you can see that. My God, look at our country. Everywhere we got is motorcycle gangs and drug and drive-by killings and shootings and criminality and crime, pollution. Right. Our children are on drugs. Our government is corrupt. Our banks are broke. My God, what more do you need to look at to understand somebody's in control and they are ripping you off? America is finished.
Is it human or is it extraterrestrial, do you believe?
Extraterrestrial, no doubts about it.
I'm almost firmly convinced of that. There's no way, I don't believe, like for instance, you as a human being watching 9/11, you, I'm sure, went into a phase of depression where you were like, I could never do this to a fellow human being. This is just way beyond me, and I don't know if I can. I need to get past this phase of depression, and I don't know if we can overcome this, because it's nothing planetary or human about it. And
that's
sir,
right.
When we come back after the top of the hour news break, of course, let's answer that question. You know, is the New World Order being used to advance us towards this New World religion? And what is the end game with bringing in this New World religion? And yes, of course, if you don't mind, Mr. Maxwell, how much time can you spend with me? Can you stay with me into the next hour? There's no way we're going to terminate this guy. Thank you. Okay, I just wanted to make sure. Ladies and gentlemen, I do believe that the people that are doing evil things to us are not of this world, or are not of this planet, are not human beings, not fellow human beings. Thank you so much. It was a nice little break here, and also at the same time, you know, it's a bittersweet moment where I actually get a chance to think about this. Me as a human being, Mr. Maxwell, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, okay, so telling the truth is dangerous. Words that can be used against me could cause me, because, and I hope we get to touch on admiralty, a little bit of admiralty law, and just how important those words are used for countries to get along with each other and to stay within the bounds of the laws that exist here on Earth. But words are weaponized. But you know what? I have free will, and if I understand that the birds, okay, are being taken into a very dangerous direction, me as an individual free-thinking bird with free will, I'm going to fly in a different direction. So whether or not I speak out about it, I'm just not going to fly in that direction myself as a fish or as a cattle in the herd or as a human being. Yes, the majority of our human beings are being taken off of a cliff into a terrible, terrible place. Whether or not I have that opportunity to tell them all they're going towards death and destruction, I'm not going to follow along with them. And they can't put me in jail for that, I don't think. But sir, I'm now beginning to understand this. And in this segment, if you could take us into that direction, it's kind of like the chicken versus the egg. What came first? The New World Order, we know, came first. You said back in the 60s, they installed it. They shot JFK. The world has changed very dramatically ever since. The New World Order has been used to advance the New World religion, or has the New World religion been used and exploited to advance the New World Order? What say you, sir?
Well, my mother used to tell me all the time, there's never been a political movement in the world that wasn't a little religious. There's never been a religion on earth that wasn't a little political. Politics and religion are one and the same thing. I had an FBI agent tell me quite a few years ago when my office was in Glendale, California. I got a phone call from an FBI agent in San Diego, and he told me who he was, and he said, "I'm calling you as a social call. It's not business." And so I said, give me your name, which he did. And I said, I'll call you back. So I hung up on him. And then I called the information to get the number for the FBI in San Diego. So I know I'm calling the FBI. Then when I got them on the phone, I asked for him, and they put me through to him. Mm-hmm. So that told me I am talking to an FBI agent for sure. Mm-hmm. So he said, I'm calling you to tell you that everything you do, your government's watching everything you say. Wherever you go to speak publicly, we're watching you. And he said, but as of this moment, we don't see you as a threat. You're not a threat. This is maybe 25 years ago. He said, we don't see you as a threat right now. And he said, however, if you ever do get in trouble, we're concerned with not what you are saying, if people are hearing you. We don't care if people are listening and hearing you. What we're concerned with is if people are listening to you. That's different. I mean, Martin Luther King could be out in a soapbox and talk all day long, and so what? So let him talk. But if you start an actual movement where people are beginning to listen to you, now we have to take another look at you now. So I realized that there's something very important going on here. As long as people are hearing you, they're not doing anything and couldn't care less, then just go on and talk and shoot your mouth off. Nobody cares. But if we find out that people are finally beginning to wake up, that's what we need to know. That's what we need to understand. And we will then do something about this. And so that's why I'm very concerned about myself and what I'm doing, because I've already stuck my head up for 50 years. There's no use in trying to hide who I am. I've already done it.
So it's been a blessing in disguise that back in 1959 through the 60s and 70s, you were out exploring, discovering the truth, sharing the truth. You're exposing it, and nobody was really paying attention. Even up until and after 9/11, nobody really wanted to hear the truth. They want to take the path
of least. As a matter of fact, I used to go to motion picture studios and recording studios, especially motion picture studios in Hollywood, because I've lived here since '59, and I used to go to sound stages at some of the major studios late at night. Nobody knew that, but just the guys working there, and they would get me in, and I would set up a screen and a slide projector back in the '70s and '80s, and do slide shows on the Illuminati, secret societies, Knights Templars, the Holy Grail, all kinds, especially on the Federal Reserve and the secret societies behind world religions, etc. And so Hollywood got to know me as a researcher in the occult world. And so I was invited many times to go to some of the biggest studios in Hollywood, but late at night, just the working class people were there. And so I was talking about these subjects because I just love talking about the things that I've been, spending my life researching. Mm-hmm. And it was very catchy for the people in Hollywood, the working class people. And now today, after all of that over the years, now today it's finally, soaked in, and now it's finally out, so that it's on the Discovery Channel and History Channel and the National Treasure and Da Vinci Code and all that stuff. Now it's finally out there. What I've been talking about for over 50 years, it's finally big now in motion picture and television industry. Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking, well, why don't we look at the rest of the story mm-hmm. and see where the rest of it goes? Because let me give you an example of the rest of the story. In Europe is the home of what we would refer to as the Caucasian or the white man. White people, or what we call the white man, comes from Europe, north, east, west, and southern Europe. Incidentally, that's where we get the word news. N-E-W-S is north, east, west, and south. So anything happens in the north, east, west, or south, N-E-W-S is news, all right? So the whole of the white man's population was in Europe. And even before the Roman Empire, there was already an established order of things in Europe. before the Roman Empire and during the Roman Empire and after the Roman Empire, it continued. And that order of things was called the Druids. The Druids were a very powerful organization of professional people. They weren't just mystics. They were very powerful lawyers, judges, doctors, administrators, and we refer to them as Celtic or Celtic Druids. But one of the most important symbols in the Druid establishment for power was their symbol for power was a magic wand, like Merlin the magician with his magic wand, or orchestra leaders today with their magic wand. You know, you dance to his tune, not yours. You're playing his tune, not yours. So you watch the orchestra conductor waving his magic wand. And so magic wands were always made out of the wood of a holly tree. It's made out of holly wood. Get it? And so once you understand that the magical symbol for the Druid peoples of the white man's race was holly wood, then you begin to see the words and terms which are used in Hollywood. And all of the symbols for the motion picture studios now begin to make sense. Now, for the first time, you begin to see why MGM has the lion. Now it makes sense. Then you see why Paramount has the woman with the holding the torch of Prometheus. Now it begins to make sense. Once you see how this stuff works and where it came from, you need to wake up and understand there is a profound presence that's well organized, highly financed, and is doing just fine, raping the entire world. You have no idea how showbiz really works.
Sir, and I'm starting to understand, as a matter of fact, the technology that is being used, and I don't want to go into the technological weapons that are being used upon man, but I know the technology that's being used in order to get us, to flock together and go in a certain direction. They've experimented with certain frequencies, for instance, through music, harmonic frequencies, inspire certain emotions. The music industry is used as a weapon against us in order to get us to go towards their satanic direction. But when we touched on the extraterrestrial aspects of it, is this a possibility? Because this is what I thought about during the break. Me as a human being, I can seek solace and safety by thinking, oh my goodness, there's something extraterrestrial going on in the universe. Maybe there's another planet where another sophisticated entity exists far, far away from me. So I can seek comfort in that thought that these extraterrestrials, if they're evil, are far, far away. Maybe they haven't arrived here yet. Is there a possibility that, in fact, there's an extra-dimensional entity that exists right in parallel with our existence here on Earth, and they're not far away? They're actually right here among us, except we just can't see them, and that's where that secret controlling entity may be. Is there a possibility of that?
Exactly right. You are profoundly and exactly correct. This is the whole basis for Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. They all three admit and agree that there is an extraterrestrial connection to our life that we don't see, dimensional. We call them angels, demons, poltergeists, ghosts. Too many. My God, there are so many thousands of stories of occult stuff going on in the world, people seeing things, people experiencing other world entities. My God, that would take weeks of shows just to talk about all the strange things which are going on in the world today and all of the so-called synchronicities where John Kennedy was killed, in November 22nd. November is 11, and 22 and 11 is 33. Get it? And so once you begin to see how there is a presence, a spiritual, demonic, otherworld presence that is feeding on us and manipulating us because it knows how we think. We are nothing more than a biological, electrical computer. That's all we are. Your body is a biological battery. And And that's why if you get in trouble, you go to court, you'll get in hot water, so they're going to put you in. So if you can't get bailed out because you're in hot water, if you can't get bailed out, then they're going to put your body into a cell. This is what we call batteries or cells. They're going to put your biological battery into a cell. You need to understand how this world really works, not how you thought it did, but what the words, terms, symbols around the world really mean and where they've come from. Now, when we talk about the extraterrestrial presence, that's a subject that I've been interested in all my life. And I've had way too many experiences not to know that there's something very serious going on here, and it's about time the human race wakes up and finds out who's really running the human show on the earth. I want to talk about that because that's very important. It's a very favorite subject of mine, extraterrestrial presence in the human affairs. So we could talk about that for a few moments if you'd like.
No, I definitely want to, because I see that it's even above and beyond any discussion we could have about the advancement of the New World Order, the advancement of the New World Religion that's coming, because those are both mechanisms and tools that I believe in. I'm calling it extra-dimensional. I believe that we would be arrogant to think that the evil entities are in some far-off galaxy that haven't arrived here yet, or maybe some of them snuck through and are here in advance of a bigger coming. I think that we would be arrogant not to consider the fact that there is a separate parallel dimension that exists that we can't even fathom, and it's right here among us. And when we figure out and we cross over into that dimension and we learn of it and learn of its existence, that's when we get taken out, because they don't want us to share that with our fellow human beings, do they?
That's exactly right. That's precisely the situation we're in right now.
Wow.
That there is an overwhelming in-your-face presence that is not seen. This is why the Bible has Jesus saying, many will look with their eyes, but not see. They'll listen with their ears, but not hear, and with the heart not get the sense of it. And so people with their hearts do not get the sense of it. They just don't get it. They think that all there is just their baseball team and their beer and their parties and their job, and they have no idea in the world, just like a fish in a bowl. They have no idea in the world that their little world that they're swimming around in, there are higher intellectual entities watching us and playing the human race for fool.